You don't have to be on YouTube long before you see street preachers and personalities yelling and screaming, and many of them doing so with hopefully a right motive. But what are we supposed to do as Christians? How are we supposed to react and respond and live with an unbelieving world? We're going to talk about that today on the Good Morning Devotional Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Good Morning Devotional Podcast. Podcast comes to you once or twice a week with an encouraging word designed to help you take your next step with God. And I'm Dallas, and I'm so glad to have you guys with us this morning. Lately, I've been reflecting on a series of videos I've been seeing online. Somebody sent me a batch of them of some street preachers, and then recently, in my personal feed, I've been seeing some other individuals, not necessarily street preaching, but they're making content as Christians. And the way that they're interacting with people, the way that they are responding and reacting to an unbelieving world, it doesn't sit well with me. Now, I want to be very clear when I talk about Christianity and the need to preach the gospel. Yes, we need to preach the gospel 100%. We need to be able to tell people about Jesus. But Jesus says that the world will hate us because of him. It should not be because of us, of the way that we do things. So the question arises, how do we live in an unbelieving world? In my reflection of this, I go to Titus chapter 3. And here we see these words of Paul. Remind them to be subject to rulers, to authorities, to be obedient, to be ready for every good deed, to slander no one, not to be contentious, to be gentle, showing every consideration for all people. And here is mapped out the way that we are supposed to act and respond as Christians in an unbelieving world. We need to be understanding of the fact that we are the minority, if you will, in a situation. And that we are, as the Bible calls it, aliens, strangers in a new world. And so Paul is reminding us that we need to be subject to rulers. This doesn't mean that we break our conscience. It doesn't mean that we violate things God given us. But it does mean that we respect the rule of law that's before us. It says that we are to be obedient, to be ready to do good deeds. He tells us to not slander people. I will tell you right now, I've seen more than a few people proclaiming to be Christians, yet actively slandering people. Not just unbelievers, but even believers, attacking them. Not to be contentious. We're called to not be people who are causing divisive issues, causing the problems within a group. One particular translation says, to avoid quarreling, meaning not to be a type of individual who just seems to thrive on argumentation. And then he says to be gentle. This is the way that we should treat people, how we should walk with people, to show a sign of gentleness, showing every consideration for all people. Paul continues on by giving the reasoning that we should act this way. And then it simply comes down to this. But outside of Christ, you were in the same boat as these individuals. You are no different than those people who don't know Jesus. He even says this, that when he breaks down what we were like, he says in verse 4, but when the kindness of God, our Savior, and his love for mankind appeared. He points out that it was the kindness of God that appeared to us, that saves us. It is the kindness of God that draws men to salvation. We as Christians are meant to be a reflection of that kindness. Again, this does not mean that we tolerate sin and the fact that we celebrate it and we say that we're going to put our hand of approval on certain sinful things. But it does mean that we treat people with kindness and care. That we love people where they're at. Point them to salvation. Shortly, Celeste and I will be at an event. And at this event, we will have the opportunity to love people where they're at. We started a ministry called Geek Devotions a decade ago. And we started it because we went to a convention for geeks and nerds. And that there was a street preacher outside yelling and screaming at them, showing no kindness, no grace. And you could literally see the walls coming up, barriers that this man was laying down between them and the gospel. And as Celeste and I walked the con floor, we were heartbroken to find the situation at hand because we realized there was a plethora of people in this community who needed to know God's love. So we decided to do something, not to slander, not to be contentious, but to be gentle, to show every consideration for people. And we're going to be on a con floor this upcoming weekend for that purpose, to show the kindness of God, to help people know that there is a loving God who cares about them, who wants to save them, who wants to have a relationship with them. I want to encourage you, wherever you're at, ask the Lord to examine your heart and pull things out to help you to be kind, to be gentle. Again, we're not talking about making compromises in your faith. We're not talking about allowing sinful activities just to be a norm for you. What I am saying is that when you're talking with people, remember this: you were once where they were at. You were just as sinful as them. Now, some of you may be sitting back going, Dallas, I grew up in church. I never did anything as quote unquote evil and bad as these people. But you were without Christ. You, before coming to know Christ, were a sinful person. And yes, the little things, lying to your mother, taking something that wasn't yours, is just as bad as that pet sin that you are thinking about right now, that you yourself have this level of disgust for. I'm not saying that these sinful things are good. They are bad. But what I am saying is that when you look at a person who is walking in that, you need to show them why the goodness of God is so much greater than the short-term thrill of the sinful lifestyle that they're walking in. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I hope it's encouraged you. I hope it's challenged you. If you guys have prayer requests, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can check out my Facebook and you can check out my Instagram. And I believe also on Threads, just look for Dallas Mora Creates. On top of that, I want to remind you guys that this is part of the Devoted Geek Network. We're part of Geek Devotions. So if you want more information about Geek Devotions, go to geekdevotions.com. And finally, I want to let you guys know that I have a book. It is available on Amazon on August 10th. You can download the ebook and you can order the physical copy. If you are able to get it in before GeekCon, I want to invite you to, if you come to the con, I would love to sign it for you guys. I unfortunately will not have copies on hand for the event, but if you guys have them, I would love to sign them for you and encourage you. This has been a long time project, and Lord willing, not the last one either. Guys, until next time, have a great week.